That's all right. Hello, everyone. How are you? Olivia Reiner here at Lambeau Field with Ryan Wood. We are here to recap the Packers win over the Texans, their very first preseason game. Very exciting. Very much looking forward to it. I'm seeing that our audio levels are freaking out right now, so I'm going to fix that. And Ryan, you're going to do
Well, first of all, good morning. Yeah, it's after midnight, so if you're tuning in, we appreciate it. Thanks for staying up late with us.
We should be better now. How's that? Does that sound more normal? We don't sound like we're shouting anymore. Welcome. Yes, if you are awake, hello. Lots to talk about. It was a pretty interesting game, I would say. We saw lots of the younger players, a lot of rookies got reps. Didn't see a ton of starters, but we saw a few starters. Got to see a little bit of Darnell Savage and Rashawn Gary. What did you make of their performances, although on very limited snaps?
Yeah, Savage didn't really see much of him. Rashawn Gary, kind of a mixed bag. I mean, he had a couple plays. You know, there's one where he got sucked in on a run and they went right outside, lost leverage. It did seem to me that the Texans were keying on him a little bit. You know, he faced some double teams tonight. He also, I got to go back and watch the tape, but it seemed like the Texans didn't run a ton of plays to him. But 0 sacks, didn't really show up in the stat sheet. But I thought he had some good moments. So we'll see as the preseason progresses. I mean, tonight was really about the bottom of the roster and the backup quarterback position. That was the main focus. I think it was almost every starter out, basically. So this was not about the top of the roster. What you saw tonight's not what you're going to see week one. But bottom of the roster, Ty Summers. He had a night, 10 tackles, 9 solo tackles. After the game, he talked about the 4 missed tackles that he should have had. But a good night for him. And I thought a good night for the quarterbacks. I was saying in the press box, I mean, with what I've seen so far from practice, I didn't have the highest level of expectations coming in. But they superseded what I thought they would do. I mean, both were clean. Tim Boyle and Deshaun Kaiser both had some good moments. They missed some throws too, but a decent start for them in preseason.
Matt LaFleur commended both Deshaun Kaiser and Tim Boyle on their command, their communication. The communication is something that at least Matt LaFleur has said to us during training camp that it's been a little tricky that his players haven't been able to hear him all that well, and getting back and forth between on the walkie-talkies has been problematic, but it seemed to me like the communication on the headset tonight was totally fine.
Yeah, I can't say I noticed any issues there. And command's a good word. I mean, that's a good word for what tonight was from the quarterbacks, because, Brian Gutekunst, we talked about it before. He said that he wanted to see winning football, and if you do what they did tonight, it gives them a fighter's chance, because I think this defense could be pretty good. So, Deshaun Kaiser said something really interesting in the locker room after the game, kind of assessing his night. He's 8 of 13, 102 yards, a touchdown on a pretty decent play. I mean, throw could have been a little bit better, but play broke down, and he was able to find Darius Shepard for a touchdown on an extended play. One of the things he said was every drive he had tonight in the first half ended with a kick. So if they weren't getting points, it was punts and not turnovers. And if you know anything about Deshaun Kaiser, he has put a ton of emphasis into taking care of the football. It's been a major issue with him early in his career. He was clean tonight. That's a really good, promising sign for Deshaun Kaiser.
All right, let's get into some of your questions. There's a small but mighty crowd out there. We appreciate you guys, and hopefully you're going to bed soon after this. I know I will. Josh says hello, so does Norman. Chase wants to know, is Oren Burks okay? If you don't know, Oren Burks left the game pretty early with his shoulder injury. It's his left, or it appeared to be a shoulder injury, his left shoulder, which Tom Silverstein told both Jim Ozarski and I in the press box, it was the same shoulder that he injured last year. So Matt LaFleur just recently in his press conference said that he didn't have an update on Oren Burks. How concerned are you that Burks, who's supposed to be making a very big jump in his second year, could have potentially some of his season derailed by this injury?
It's not what he wanted, for sure. It might be the most significant thing that happened tonight. It's either that or a promising start for the backup quarterbacks. It's hard to say how concerned, obviously, with they're evaluating that. I don't know if they even know yet how concerned it is, but the fact that it's the same shoulder, he missed time last year, and it really affected his rookie year, the time that he missed. So he needs to be on the field.
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. Hello, Aaron Nagler in the comments there.
Nagler. Nags.
Hello. Let's see what we got. Hello from Alaska, Michael. Hello. Everyone, not everybody, there's a few of you in there that are asking about Darnell Savage. Someone earlier in the comments, let's see what we got here. We got someone, maybe, oh, there we go. Norman wanted to know why Savage didn't play more. Is it just because they're trying to conserve him a little bit?
Yeah, I wonder if that's part of it. You know, he was late to start camp with the wisdom tooth. So that might have played, you know, he's had less time to prepare for the first game than other guys. That might have played into consideration. I imagine you'll see plenty of him to go the rest of the preseason.
All right, so Norman, all good, all is well.
Good.
Josh points out that tackling from the defense looked pretty sloppy tonight. Matt LaFleur also pointed that out. Ty Summers was something of an exception. He had a pretty exceptional first half.
Although he did miss 4 tackles though, and that was what he was focused on. It's funny, he calls himself a perfectionist. He was focused on the missed tackles and really, in a fascinating way, broke down exactly what happened on all 4 plays. Just rattled them off. I mean, he said that they were still weighing on his mind, and so I asked which plays, and he just kind of boom, 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 every detail of the play. So that was pretty interesting. Look, they haven't tackled since January. It's the first time they've tackled since January. It's going to look like that. That's the CBA out there. It's like that for every team. Probably didn't help that they're going against a really elusive, you know, athletic guy in Joe Webb. That you know, I mean, he's quick.
He's good.
So, you know, it'll get better, I would imagine, as the preseason goes along. This is kind of what you expect.
Dean says that I look like I'm cold and that we should wrap it up. It's actually not so bad out right now.
It's pleasant.
It is lovely.
Hey, when you've been baking on that sideline rubber track thing at Ray-Nitschke Field for 2 weeks, this is very nice. I can take this.
Oh,
yes.
my goodness, I will take this
I don't
any
feel like
day.
I'm frying right now. It's nice.
Yes, this is beautiful. So we'll take our time, but we're not going to be here that much longer. Ivan has a very good question that I have, and I don't really know if we can necessarily answer. Probably not a good way to start off a question, is it?
Hey!
So, sorry.
We'll try.
He asks, is Josh Jones actually injured, or are they trying to save him ahead of a potential trade? It's a good question.
Don't know. It is a good question. That was the name of all the names, ton of names that were listed as did not dress tonight. That was the name that jumped out to me the most and jumped out to me first because what's going on there? He's clearly not a guy that's a starter. Clearly. So is it, you know, apparently there is the injury. Is there anything more to it? I don't know. He's been practicing. You know, he was involved in the fight on Tuesday. He jumped on the huddle and was punching guys. I don't know if that had anything to do with it. You know, obviously the Texans pulled Lonnie Johnson, but he Tuesday, but he did practice play tonight. So yeah, I don't know, but that was an interesting night.
It's a good question. It's a good thing to keep your eye on going forward in the rest of these preseason games. If he will make it to the rest of these preseason games, we will see. We'll take, let's see, a couple more of your questions. Yeah, why don't we go talk a little bit about something that we actually dove into in our pregame. If you joined us pregame, Pete and I discussed this. Ibraheim Campbell has returned to the Packers. You may remember him. He played for the team for 4 games last season. I think he was injured in the 4th game, tore his ACL, and the Packers have signed him. And what's really interesting to me and to Pete was that he's apparently healthy. He's healthy, and the surgery was perhaps back in December, so it hasn't been that long from what I understand that he's been able
Brian Bulaga did that
recover.
Kind of a year ago,
Seems like a pretty speedy recovery to me.
Yeah.
But it'll shore up the safety position. I think we've discussed this in the past, but you can never have too many secondary members, people backing you up there. And In my opinion, I think they're a little bit shallow back there at safety.
Well, bottom line, Mike Pettin really likes Ibraheim Campbell a lot. Going back to last year, he said that this is Mike Pettin's defense. He's got a lot of influence on and input on the personnel on that side of the ball. So he's a Mike Pettin guy.
Yep, Campbell played under Mike Pettin in Cleveland as well, so definitely not a surprise that they kept an eye on him in this offseason when he was a free agent. Let's see what else we got here. Something I wanted to ask you, I mean, might as well discuss the kickers, right?
Yeah.
How did you think Sam Ficken did? He was 2 for 2 on his field goals, so was Mason Crosby. But overall, did it look pretty neck and neck to you?
Well, Mason Crosby did have the kickoff out of bounds, which is not where you want to put a kickoff.
Last I checked, that's supposed to go inbounds.
They have rules against those things. So, that's something he'd want to clean up for sure. It's way early. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Sam Ficken's got the stronger leg. There's no question. It's just that Mason Crosby's the known commodity. He's the proven guy. We'll see.
All right. Any standouts to you tonight? Was there someone who really just jumped off the field for you?
Summers. Robert Tonyan had a play.
He did?
He had a pretty good play. It was a 23-yard reception that, kind of showed why he's making his way on this offense. The quarterbacks were good. Dexter Williams, I thought, was pretty good too. He's a rookie, and Deshaun Kaiser actually talked about. He kind of backed up something Matt LaFleur had said earlier in camp about Dexter Williams hitting his landmarks harder and quicker in this offense. Deshaun Kaiser said that at Notre Dame, he could dance in the backfield. I mean, he was known to do that, and he was able to do that in college. You can't do that on this level. But Deshaun Kaiser called him a gamer, said that he's the type of guy he'll run into a pile of 6 guys, come out the other side, and break it off for a 70-yard touchdown. He's seen him do that time after time. And you can see that raw, natural ability with Dexter Williams. I mean, he when he does get to the hole, he bursts through it pretty quick. His one-cut kind of slashing style could be really good in this offense. I kind of like what I've seen. I mean, I think that he's got to polish his game up and make that rookie transition like anyone, but I think there's some promise there.
Certainly early, but yes, definitely some promise there from Williams. Norman points someone out that I thought was a big standout tonight. Darius Shepard had a very impressive touchdown from Deshaun Kaiser. Yeah. Lovely leap of his. I thought I was very impressed by what he was able to do. He wonders, Norman, if Shepard will make the 53-man roster. It seems like a very long shot.
I'll say this. I think the Packers like him. I mean, just based off the reps he gets, I think he's a practice squatter for sure. I mean, I think he's definitely on that trajectory right now. If he continues on this path, he's going to make the practice squad.
All right, so some interesting things going on, some things to keep an eye on. It's early. It was the very first preseason game. Not everything is going to look great. Not everything did look great, but there was some good things, some bad things. But it's all fun to talk about. And we'll be back at all of this again on Saturday because the Packers are back at training camp come Saturday. Tomorrow we get to hear from the defensive coaches, so that should be interesting. We'll have some updates for you over on PackersNews.com. We'll be tweeting out a bunch of stuff as well. Make sure you're reading all of our stuff. Make sure you're following all of us. And make sure you're tuning in to our next live stream, which we will be doing after practice on Saturday. So thank you guys for joining us. And actually, if you are from our practice live streams, you might recall that I had to abandon Ryan to turn off the live stream to do it on my laptop.
It was real awkward.
But guess what? I can do it on my phone now.
Less awkward.
So I'm not leaving. So I'm going to stand right here. I'm going to hit the stop button.
I have company.
I'm going to thank you one more time for tuning in. We appreciate it.